Kate sat in her home office, surrounded by towers of paperwork and half-drunk coffee cups. Her eyes, heavy from endless hours in front of a computer screen, reflected the fluorescent light's cold glow. She sighed, pushing her glasses up her nose. She could hear her kids laughing downstairs, a stark contrast to the oppressive silence that filled her tiny workspace. "I need a break," she muttered. The corporate world had drained her. Her desk was a battlefield, a testament to her struggle to balance work and life. She took a deep breath, her fingers tapping rhythmically on the desk. "I'm quitting my job to play video games," she whispered, barely believing it herself. Kate had always had a love-hate relationship with corporate jargon, mostly hate. Words like synergy, bandwidth, and leverage floated around the office like annoying buzzwords. She often found herself nodding along in meetings, inserting a well-timed "absolutely" or "I concur" without actually knowing what she was agreeing to. "Synergy," she scoffed, rolling her eyes. Does anyone even know what that means? Every day felt like an exercise in futility, shuffling papers from one pile to another. Her sarcasm was her only defense, a shield against the soul-crushing reality of corporate life. She would joke with her coworkers, making quips about strategic alignments and core competencies. "Yeah, I definitely need a change." The office was a bleak, gray landscape of cubicles and artificial lighting. Kate remembered her last day there vividly. It was as if the life had been sucked out of every individual the moment they stepped through those revolving doors. She could see herself, sitting at her desk, mechanically typing away. "Morning, Kate," Steve from accounting had said, his voice flat and lifeless. "Ready for another exciting day?" The sarcasm in his tone was palpable. They all pretended to be enthusiastic, but everyone knew the truth. The daily meetings were the worst. Sitting around a conference table, everyone feigning interest as their boss droned on about quarterly projections. By the end of the day, Kate was exhausted. Not from the work itself, but from the sheer effort of pretending to care. There were times when the office felt less like a workplace and more like a prison. The walls seemed to close in on her, the air thick with the stifling atmosphere of conformity. The eerie hum of the fluorescent lights overhead was a constant reminder of her entrapment. Kate sometimes imagined the office in more surreal terms. The cubicles transformed into cages, the meeting rooms into interrogation chambers. Her co-workers, once familiar faces, became faceless drones. One day, she found herself staring at a stack of reports, the numbers and charts blurring together. She blinked, and for a moment, the pages seemed to writhe and squirm. Was she losing it? Or was this just the toll of endless monotony? She knew she had to get out before the office consumed her entirely. Kate's escape plan was unconventional, to say the least. She had always been a dreamer, someone who saw possibilities where others saw obstacles. She had always loved video games, finding solace in the virtual worlds they offered. These games were more than just a pastime. They were a sanctuary, a place where she could be anyone and do anything. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at her mundane job, she had an epiphany. It was a moment of clarity that struck her like lightning. What if she could turn her passion into a career? The thought was both thrilling and daunting, but it ignited a spark within her. The idea of becoming a gaming YouTuber was both exhilarating and terrifying. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but the challenge excited her. She had spent countless hours watching others play, laughing along with their commentary, and learning from their strategies. She admired their creativity and charisma. I could do that, she thought, maybe even better. She felt a surge of confidence, believing in her unique perspective and skills. She started researching, diving into forums and videos about how to start a channel. She read articles, watched tutorials, and absorbed every piece of advice she could find. The more she learned, the more excited she became. Each new piece of information was a stepping stone towards her dream. She could create content, build a community, and finally do something she loved. The thought of connecting with others who shared her passion was exhilarating. Her family was supportive, though skeptical. They wanted to see her happy, but were unsure about the stability of such a career. "Are you sure about this, Mom?" her son asked, his eyes filled with concern and curiosity. "Yes, I am, and I'm going to be great at it," she reassured them with a determined smile, ready to embark on this new adventure. Kate's favorite games were horror-themed, full of suspense and jump scares. She found a strange comfort in the dark, eerie settings. They mirrored the suffocating atmosphere of her real-life job, but with one crucial difference. In the game, she had control. One evening, she was streaming a particularly intense horror game. The virtual world was a twisted maze of shadows and lurking dangers. As she navigated through the dark corridors, she couldn't help but draw parallels to her office life. "It's like working for my boss," she joked, her viewers laughing in the chat. Every corner she turned in the game felt like another day at the office. But unlike her job, she could pause the game, take a breath, and strategize her next move. Her viewers loved it, relating to her struggles and cheering her on. Despite her resolve to break free, the demands of her job continued to intrude on her personal space. Every day, she found herself more entangled in work, even when she was supposed to be off the clock. It was as if her boss had a sixth sense, always knowing the worst possible time to call. Whether it was during dinner or while she was trying to relax, the phone would ring. One evening, as she was about to start a live stream, her phone buzzed. She hesitated, knowing it could only mean more work. It was an email marked urgent. She sighed, feeling the weight of the never-ending demands. "Of course," she muttered, glaring at the screen. It was always urgent, always something that couldn't wait. The email was a mess of jargon and impossible deadlines. She felt overwhelmed just looking at it. She felt the familiar knot of anxiety tighten in her chest. The pressure was becoming unbearable. How was she supposed to juggle her job and her new venture? The balance seemed impossible to achieve. She took a deep breath, trying to focus on the positive. She reminded herself that she was capable and strong. This was just a temporary setback. She could handle it, she told herself, even if it felt overwhelming at the moment. But the interruptions kept coming. Each notification felt like a new hurdle to overcome. Conference calls scheduled during her streaming hours, urgent tasks popping up just as she sat down to game. It was relentless. It felt like the universe was conspiring against her, testing her resolve. But she knew she had to keep pushing forward, no matter how difficult it seemed. The more the job demands encroached on her personal space, the stronger Kate's resolve grew. She was done being a slave to the corporate machine. It was time to take control of her life. She spent her evenings planning, researching strategies to grow her YouTube channel, and honing her gaming skills. Her family rallied around her, offering support and encouragement. "You've got this, Mom," her son said one evening, giving her a thumbs up. Kate's confidence grew with each passing day. She started to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Her viewership was slowly increasing, and she was receiving positive feedback from her audience. She began to dream bigger, envisioning a future where she was a successful YouTuber. Kate knew she couldn't do it alone. She needed the support of her viewers, her newfound community of gamers. She decided to be honest with them, to share her story and her dreams. During one of her streams, she opened up, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I'm quitting my job to play video games," she said, a smile tugging at her lips. "It sounds crazy, I know, but I'm done with the corporate grind. I want to do something I love, something that makes me happy. And I need your help to make it happen." Her viewers responded with an outpouring of support, their messages flooding the chat. Kate's story resonated deeply with her audience because it was a reflection of their own struggles and frustrations. Her narrative was not just a tale, but a mirror showing the daily battles they faced. The corporate world, with its endless demands and soul-crushing monotony, was a familiar enemy to many. The constant pressure to perform, the lack of recognition, and the feeling of being just another cog in the machine were all too real. Many of her viewers were stuck in similar situations, yearning for an escape, but unsure of how to break free. They felt trapped in a cycle of routine, dreaming of a life where they could pursue their passions. During her streams, Kate often talked about the challenges of balancing work and life. She shared her own experiences of late nights, early mornings, and the constant juggle between her job and her dreams. Her honesty struck a chord with her viewers, who appreciated her candidness and could relate to her experiences. They found solace in knowing they were not alone in their struggles. "Watching your streams gives me hope," one viewer wrote. "Your journey inspires me to keep pushing forward even when things get tough. I'm stuck in a dead-end job too. but seeing you chase your dreams makes me believe I can do it too. Your courage gives me the strength to believe in myself." Messages like these fueled Kate's determination, reminding her that she wasn't just doing this for herself. She was a beacon of hope for many. She encouraged her viewers to take small steps towards their own dreams. "Every little effort counts," she would say, "and each step brings you closer to your goal." "It's not easy," she said, "but it's worth it. The journey may be tough, but the rewards of following your passion are immeasurable." Kate's decision to quit her job and pursue gaming full-time was a leap of faith. It wasn't an easy path, but it was one she was willing to take. She had spent too long in the shadows of corporate life, and it was time to step into the light. Her journey was just beginning, but already she could feel the weight lifting off her shoulders. She was doing something she loved, something that made her feel alive, and she wasn't alone. She had the support of her family, her viewers, and her newfound community of gamers. The future was uncertain, but it was also full of possibility. Kate was ready to face whatever came her way, to embrace the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. She had found her passion, and she was determined to make it a success.